Good morning. Namaste. Let's start the class with the prayers. Om Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Devo Maheshwaraha, Guru Sakshat Parbrahma, Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Om Bhu Bhava Swaha, Tatsavitravare Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi, Diyo Yo Naha Prachodayat. Asto Ma Satgamya, तमसो मा ज्योतिर्गम्य मृत्योर्मा अमृतं गम्य ओम सहनावतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सवीर्यं कर्वावहि तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहि ओम शांति 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 ओम. Saturdays we are studying Vivekachudamani these days, and we are in the middle of the verses where Adi Shankaracharya is describing what kind of attitude we should have during our meditations. So let's look at verse number 262. Yat vibhatihi sat anekdaha brahmat naam roop gun vikriye atmanah hemvat swayam avikriyam sada brahma tat tvam asi bhave atmane. Yat means that. Vibhati shines or appears. Sat means that reality, one reality, Sat. Anekdha, variously. Brahmat, because of delusion. Naam means names. Roop, forms. Gun, qualities. We create Atmanaha as changes. We create. Hemvat, like gold. Swayam, itself. Avikriyam, changeless. Sada means always. Brahma, Tat means that. Tvam, you. Asi, I. Bhave Atmani, meditate in your mind. That one reality, which appears variously because of delusion, though itself always unchanged, assumes names and forms, qualities and changes, like gold, through all its modifications, that Brahma thou art. Meditate on this in your mind. Okay, so he's asking us again and again that when we meditate, meditate on the Atma. Okay, on the Atma. The supreme reality, Brahma. That is the substratum, that is the source. We see many, but actually it's one. It's just a trick of the mind, which is called Brahma Illusion. We think there are many. Actually, it's only one. This many we see, it is because of these four. What are these four? Naam, Roop, Gun, Vikriya. Names, forms, qualities, and activities. Because of these four, we just don't see Brahma. All we see is other things, various things. Okay, it's almost like if there's only one light, but it's just diverges into many, many rays. All we see the rays. And if somebody puts the colors on those rays, one is red and one is blue and one is orange and one is green, we think that that's what the light is. But the light is one and only. So we need to have the subtle perception to discover the true essence. Subtle perception. Because ordinarily we do not perceive that subtlety. What we see is just whatever is projected by our minds. We fail to perceive the truth. So we need a very alert spiritual perception alone to have this truth revealed to us. Otherwise, we just stay Brahmit, this illusion. When we look at an object, we do so through an outer instrument. See, all the objects are seen like that. And those outer instruments are called what? Sense organs in our body. Through our eyes, we see outside. Through the ears, we want to hear outside. But to see something so subtle, we need the inner instruments. And that is mind and intellect. And we need to learn how to make them subtle, then subtler, then subtlest. It's almost like when we look at a flower, we only see it, never perceive it. Because the minute we see a flower, what do we start doing? Our mind starts to chatter. A wonderful flower. Where did it come from? Where did I see it before? How can I just keep it? All those things, the chatter is about the object. So what have we seen? Just a physical flower. We have not perceived the flower. So name, forms, qualities, activities, they are all just blabbering in our mind. And that's why we are seeing mindlessly. And the truth is not perceived to us. So if we were to perceive the world outside without any attempt of our verbalization, without any blabbering of the mind, we can perceive Brahma. Brahma is outside also, Brahma is inside also, Brahma is everywhere. But we got to stop this chattering of our mind. Then this term he uses, hemavat, like gold. Gold doesn't want to be on our neck or on our hand or the wrist. Doesn't have any clinging to our finger. We are the one. We use it for various purposes and we call it with various names. These names we have given, it's a ring, it's a necklace, it's this, it's that. So name, form, property, and activity are all projected onto gold. And we see the world of ornaments. But a jeweler will say it's only a gold. Similarly, the world is nothing but Brahma. This is the point he's making over here. This world is nothing but Brahma, and understand that Brahma to be your own self, at least during your meditations. Let me read it again. Very powerful verse. If you can get to the depth of it. That one reality, which appears variously because of delusion, though itself always unchanged. So Brahma is always unchanged. There's never a change in the Brahma. And assumes names and forms, qualities and changes. These are the four things I mentioned. Like gold, through all its modifications, that Brahma thou art. Meditate on this in your mind. So meditation should be done on that unchanging reality. Sadly, we do meditations also these days just for the form. to get something or to relax our mind. Meditation is to know yourself. That's the reason we meditate. So that's why he keeps telling us, meditate on the Brahma. Now we are on verse number 268. Oh, 263, sorry. Yeah, we did 262 and now 263. Yat chakasatihi anparam parat param pratyak ek rasam atam lakshnam satya chit sukham anantam avyam brahm tattvam asi bhave atmanihi. Yat, that chakastihi, shines, anparam, beyond which there is nothing. Anparam. Parat param, beyond the beyond. That means beyond the Maya. Parat param. Pratyak, the innermost. Ek rasam, one essence, homogeneous. Atam lakshanam, of the nature of the self. Satya, existence. Chit, knowledge. Sukham, bliss. Anantam, infinite. Avyam, immutable. Brahm, tat, that. Tvam, you. Asi, I. Bhave Atmani, meditate in your mind. That beyond which there is nothing. Okay, sometimes we wonder, what is beyond God? He says nothing. Because everywhere God is. There's no place which is beyond God. So that beyond which there is nothing, which is above Maya. So this Brahma is above Maya, which is superior to its effects. The universe, which is the innermost subjective self, which is of one essence, which is continuous existence, knowledge, bliss, which is infinite and immutable, that Brahma thou art. So again, he is giving us these arrows towards the Brahma, because he wants us to, he says, meditate on this in your mind. Meditate on this. Let's look at the terms anparam. This is a very extreme, expressive term used in Chandogya Upanishad also. It means there is nothing other than it. Tadetadam brahm purvam anaparam. There is nothing other than it, anaparam. Paratpara, the most supreme. Par means supreme. And supreme over here really means subtle. Subtle is used to denote the cause. Because there's a cause and there's an effect. Effect we can see. Effect is gross. Cause is subtle. Just like a tree and the seed. Seed looks subtler than the tree. That mustard seed so small, and then mustard plant comes out of it. So cause and effect. Effect is gross and cause is subtle. So that's why pratpara, the most supreme, the most subtle. So par means the cause for all the effects. All the effects, whatever we see, the effect is the world. So par, the cause, is Maya. Therefore, pratpar is that which is cause for even for Maya. Maya cannot exist without God. That's why it's called a Ishwar Shakti. There's a term used, Yoga Maya. So that is the cause. cause is very subtle. So Ishwar is the one who is the owner of this Maya, that supreme reality beyond which there is nothing, which is the cause for the very cause of the whole universe. So cause for this universe is Maya. And cause for the Maya is God. So that's why he's defining this beyond the beyond. Okay. Then there's a term pratyag. Pratyag means within, innermost. That means subjective. That which lies in the depth of the personality, which is functioning even behind the very mind. Power of the mind. Mind is very powerful. But what is the power of the mind? That's what he's saying, pratyag. Then he used the word ek ras, one essence. Its essence does not change. See, there is an essence to a fruit. But that essence can change. Even in that, the ras of the fruit, you'll find seeds also. But this ras, ek ras, there's no change throughout. Permanent, infinite nature. And what is that ras? That is blissful. The bliss is the ras. And then sat, chit, sukham, anantam, continuous existence, knowledge, bliss. So self is indicated here with this, and we are familiar with these terms, sat, chit, sukham, ananta. Okay, sat is the existence, chit over here means pure knowledge. Sukh is bliss, and anant is infinite, endless. And avyam, undecaying. There is no decay for the bliss of Brahma. There is no decay. So all these terms are many arrow marks pointing the direction of our attention in meditation towards Brahma, towards that supreme. So you can say that these are the guideposts which are showing us our way towards the truth. They can help our human mind. And this reality thou art, we have forgotten this, but this is what we are. So these verses are here to help us meditate properly. 264. Uktam artham imam atmani swayam भाव्येत प्रथित युक्ति भी धिया संशयादि रहितम कर अम्बुवत तेन तत्व निगमः भविष्यति. Uktam, uktam means indicated. And uktam artham means the truth. These teachings. Imam, this, atmani, in one's heart. Swayam, oneself. Bhavyet, must meditate. Prathit, recognize. Yukti bhi, reasoning. Dhiya, with the intellect. Sanshya adi rahitam, without any doubts, etc. See, rahit means without, no doubt. Kar ambu, what? Like water in the palm of one's hand. See, if somebody pours water in the palm of our hand, there's no sanshya, there's no doubt about it. So he says, whatever I have told you in the last 10 verses, this is as clear as this. Ten means by these names. Tattva nigmaha, realization of truth. Bhavishyati will take place. One must meditate with the intellect in one's heart on the truth inculcated above by means of scriptural arguments. By these means, one will realize truth without any doubts, and the like, just like water in the hollow of one's And okay, so that means that all of this, what he told us in the last 10 verses, he is conveying it to us by the means of scriptural reasonings. So that means there are other scriptures which I've been mentioning here and there. All the scriptures, the main scriptures, the primary scriptures, the Shrutis, they've been telling us that too. We got to have, see, Shruti, they say Shruti Parman. Parman means something which is correct. Something is in front of you. Shruti is that kind of a Parman. Okay. Only thing is we have to experience it now. This is, it has been talked about logically with a full reasoning to you. So thoughtfully, we need to feel it. It's not that we got to blindly accept it. Logically, it has been told us for our intellect, but now we got to experience it by ourselves. Experience only we can do. Nobody else can experience it for us. So with an intellect that has been trained to argue, discuss in the lines of the great scriptures, that's why he said, Prathit Yukti bhi, recognized arguments, has been used here in these verses. Because every science has its own technique of analysis. We know a student of the science knows how to analyze the science, just like a doctor. A doctor knows the technique of analyzing the symptoms and diagnosing the disease. That's why when we go to the doctor, they ask us about the symptoms. Where is it hurting? When is it hurting? How long it has been hurting? How do you feel? On the scale of 1 to 10, how severe it is. So that's how they can diagnose. See, in all professions, there's a way of thinking. So the intellect that has been trained in technology of logical thinking in the science of reality alone can come to experience this truth. He says, don't even have a trace of doubt, because if the doubt is there, then you won't be able to experience it, because part of your mind will stand in the middle over there between your logical thinking and between your experience, the doubt. And it doesn't take that long for the doubt to really expand. So he says, just let go of the doubts. It's right in the palm of your hand, just like a water is the palm of your hand. Don't give any possibility to the doubts. Then with such a direct experience, reach the state of realization of the self. Then there's no doubt, it will be beyond doubts, despairs. That's what Shankaracharya is saying. Okay. So meditation is needed. Meditation is the way to experience it. Let's look at 265. Sambodh matram parishuddh tattvam vigyaye sanghe nripvat cha sainye tat ashreha swa atmani sarvada sthita vilapye brahmani vishvajatam. Sambodh matram, knowledge absolute. See, sambodh, that is almost like a swabodh matram, your own knowledge absolute. Parishuddha tattvam, the pure reality. That means free from the ignorance. Parishuddha. Vigyai, realizing. Sanghe, in the bundle. Bundle means this body. Bundle of the body and the senses. Mind and the intellect. Sanghe. Nripvat, like the king. Cha means and. Sanye, in an army. Sanye, in an army. Tat ashreha, resting in that knowledge. Swa atmani, in one's own self. Sarvada, ever. Sthita, established. Vilapye, merge. Brahmani, into the Brahma. Vishvajatam, the universe. In this cause-effect bundle, realizing the knowledge absolute, free from ignorance and its effects, like the king in an army, and resting in that knowledge, ever established in your own self, merge the universe into Brahma. Okay, so he says just Vilapya Brahmane. Just merge yourself into the Brahma. Right now we have merged into the universe, into the Maya. He says this Maya has come from Brahma. Merge into the Brahma in this during meditation at least. So Brahma is a pure consciousness. Not the conscious of the things, but objectless awareness. That's what he says, Swabodh Matram. It is to be realized as a pure objectless awareness in this assemblage of not self. Assemblage of not self is what? It is called cause-effect bundle, or it's called body. And in Sanskrit, it's called Sharir, Indriye, Pran, Ahankar, Roop, Karya, Karan, Sanghate. This is a Sangh. It's a bundle. Bundle of Sharir, Indriye, this body, the gross body, the senses, the Pran, the Ahankar. All of this is a bundle. Sanghe. Rupakare Karan Sanghate. So then he gives us the analogy over here, just like a king in any state is well protected. And all those soldiers, the army, they draw the inspiration from the king. Everyone does the allotted duty because of the king. So over here, who's the king? So we have forgotten the king. We are only concerned about the army. That is the Sangha. So the Atma, though itself is not doing anything, just like a king doesn't have to do anything. But a king, the presence of the king, people will draw the inspiration. So the same way, this Atma. So this Sangha, this body is getting the inspiration from there, but it has forgotten it. This Ahankar has forgotten it. So take it as your shelter, he says, Ashray. Move under the shelter of the divine. Don't forget it. Be ever established in it. Merge all your pluralistic experiences which are born out of this world into Brahma. That's why if we go to a Hindu temple, the beautiful building, the beautiful statue, beautiful lights, the music, even that ringing the bell, it sounds so pleasant. The incense, the prasad, all of this should draw our attention towards the divinity. But we say we cannot go to the temple every day, but that's why our Hindu sages and the seers, they say, make your own home into a temple. That's where they said that there should be a temple in every home. Don't wait for Sunday to go there. In your own home. That's the reason we don't bring the shoes inside the house. All those cultural things. Getting up in the morning, going into your mandir room, doing the pranam. At night also, doing the pranam, doing the prayers twice. Any kind of agitation, just go into your mandir room and sit there and feel the presence of God. God is there. It is all at the tip of our hands. We know it, but we have to do it though. We cannot just have the room, beautiful room as a mandir and just keep the doors closed. Keep it open. It should be visible so that it's a reminder to us 24/7. Make it the most beautiful part of your house. Outer temples are very important, but this our personal temple is even more important. You can see that if the whole house you consider as a temple, you will not bring anything which is prohibited in the temple. Just like if you consider this body as a temple, you will not put anything which is prohibited in this. You will think twice about it. God lives there. How can I put something in there which is prohibited? Anything which I cannot offer it to the God outside, how can I just put it inside? Or even the language, the vulgar language, whether it's a listening or whether it's a saying. If you remember that Braham resides here, we won't be able to say that. We won't be able to talk wrong. We won't be able to cheat. We won't be able to feel jealous. We won't even get angry. So these verses over here, they are profound verses to bring us directly towards the Brahmhood. That's what he is telling us. Just like the dreamer and the dream experiences born out of the dream, they all merge into the waker. The same way this happens. This is for us to experience. It's not just a blind faith. That's why he's using all kind of a logic, all kind of a reasoning with the help of the other scriptures, prime scriptures, shrutis. He says, this is the truth. Contemplate on it and then ultimately experience it. This is for experience. Let's look at one more verse. Verse number 266. Buddhau guhayam sat asat vilakshanam Brahma asti satyam param advityam sat atmanah ya atra vaset guhayam punhana tasya anga guha parveshah. Buddhau guhayam, in the cave of the intellect. See, guh means a cave. Okay, buddhi means the intellect. So cave of the intellect. Sat asat vilakshanam, distinct from the truth and untruth, from the real and unreal. Brahma, asti, is satyam, existence. Param, supreme, advityam, non-dual. Tat atmanaha, that Brahma. Ya means who, atra means in this or here, vaset, dwells. Guhayam, in the cave of the intellect. Huna, again, na means not, tasya, for him. Anga guha parveshaha, entry in the cave of the body. In the cave of the intellect is Brahma. Okay. So intellect is the higher mind, the subtler. So that's why we need to make this intellect of ours very subtle, extremely subtle. Okay. So in the cave of the intellect is Brahma. Other than the gross and the subtle, existence is supreme and non-dual. He no more enters the mother's womb. Guhu Parvesh means again, see, mother's womb is also called a Guhu. Okay, so he no more enters the mother's womb who dwells in this cave as Brahma. So that means that journey of coming and going ends. You have reached the goal. This is what we need to do in this life. You remember in the very opening verse of this scripture, 3 stages were explained for self-realization. Let me remind you. He said, Atam Anatam Vivechanam. Discrimination between the self and the non-self. Second one was Swa Anubhav. Subjective experience of the self within. Swa Anubhav. And the third one was Brahma Atma or Brahm Atmana Samasthita. Getting established in the one self of the Brahman Atma. So Brahm Atmana Samasthita. So of these 3, the first, the discrimination between the Atma and Anatma is over. We talked about it. We saw how beautifully Shankaracharya ji explained. From this onwards, the subjective experience is indicated now. Okay. So in the cave of the intellect, see, for the first one, you are trying to understand it intellectually. But now in the cave of the intellect is the heart. And in the heart, the Atma is apprehended. So this heart is not this pumping organ over here. This is a philosophical heart. Wherever there is an atmosphere of love. When an individual starts thinking regularly, he will arrive at the experience of the Atma in the heart. This self, which is in the cave of the heart, is something other than the subtle or the grosser. This is a supreme Brahman and is non-dual. And he who enters this cave through meditation comes to apprehend that he himself is the pure consciousness. So that is the subjective experience. For him, this kind of a person, there is no re-entry into this body of flesh. So this is what we need to do. We need to have the experience of this. Because at present, we are caught up in the cave of the body. Sometimes not in the cave. We are just only in the surface of this body, our skin and the hair. Or sometimes not even that, something outside of us, the objects, the positions, the relationships. Once you are engaged with the Brahma, you are no more engagement of the flesh. Okay. Even though you are in the flesh, but your attention is not there as much. And as a result of your sadhana and courtship, the engagement is announced. You will see that. No more births, because there's no vasanas. There's nothing to play with. Has been cleansed. This is where he's taking us. The subjective experience takes us to that level. That's why he says this last verse, last line in this verse over here. It's just like a no more guhu parvesh. Guhu parvesh. Okay. He says, Punha na tasya ang guha parveshaha. Okay. It's a pretty profound statement. So we need to have this subjective experience. In order to have this subjective experience, we got to learn how to give up the vasanas. So that's why starting from the next verse, he's telling us how to give up the vasanas. See, this is the beauty of these gurus. They don't leave us in the midstream. They show us where we are. They show us what the obstacles are. They know how to rise above the obstacles, and they show us where we are going. And they also show us after going there what will happen. I mean, look at the clarity of the whole subject over here. So from verse 267 to 276, give up the vasanas, the methods. Let me just only read this next verse so that you see the depth of these verses. He says, Gyate vastuni api balvati vasana. Anadi eshaha karta bhogta api aham iti dridaya yasya sansar hetu pratyag drishteya. Atmani nivasataha sa apneya prayatnat muktim prahu tat ihi munya vasana tanvam yat. He says, even after the realization of truth, there remains a powerful, beginningless, deep impression that one is the doer and the enjoyer. So doer and the enjoyer, that's also a vasana. I'm doing this, I'm enjoying this, which is the cause for rebirth. By living in a subjective state of steady identification with the self, it has to be consciously removed. That which is the annihilation of the vasanas here and now is called liberation of the sages. So we'll talk about it. I'll give you the word by word meaning also of this verse. So since the topic is kind of a shifting, so I think it's a good point to stop today's lecture. Okay. So what we learned today is just to do the meditation properly. Get rid of the doubts. Okay, because doubts, maybe I'm wasting my time. Any kind of a doubt, just let go of the doubts with the help of the reasoning, with the help of the logic. That no, this we have to do. If Lord Krishna said that, all the sages, they've been saying it. They've been doing it too, just to show us. They don't have to do it, but they still do it. Lord Shiva, why is he sitting up there in the Kailash Parvat, meditating for thousands and thousands of years? He doesn't have to, but he does. Why did Brahma meditate it before even the creation? Just to show us that we have to do it too. But we are so ignorant, even after being told so many times, we still think maybe I can get it without making any effort. Maybe I can buy myself way to that. It doesn't work like that. We got to remember that. So remember, he has been insisting that we should meditate, and how should we meditate, and on what we should be meditating upon. And now he'll talk about in these verses, 9 verses, give up the vasanas. Vasanas. Okay, so let's stop it here, and then we'll start our class with this verse number 267 next time. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti 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 Om. So we have a question, looks like. Pooja.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask, can you explain non-duality a little bit more? And I wanted to know, in Zoroastrianism, do they teach duality? Because I feel like I've heard that before. So are there different faiths?
No, who teaches duality? I didn't get that.
Like in Zoroastrianism, do they teach duality? Because I have a friend, I think he's maybe he's Parsi or Zoroastrian. I don't know what but he told me about this thing called like this, it's like an eternal flame that has still been burning since, I don't know, like thousands of years, and it represents duality. And I'm confused because I'm wondering what is non-duality, and our scriptures are teaching non-duality, but I remember him talking about his faith teaching duality. So I just wanted to understand that more.
Yeah. Okay. First of all, duality means two. Non-duality means one. So that means there's only one power, one thing over here, which is a Brahma.
Okay.
Okay. So this is what we are learning. And
Okay.
he clearly said that there's a Maya. But Maya is caused by this Brahma.
Why?
So if somebody says there's a Maya and there's a Brahma, that's not two. That's one. Still it's one. Power is one. There are not two powers. This
But
Maya is owned by God.
But why did God make Maya? Like, what purpose does it serve?
For the creation, you need it.
You need illusion to create for the purposes of creation.
Maya means all this, the elements, 5 elements. That's part of Maya.
Okay.
It's not an illusion. It is there. But who owns it? Who created it? Brahma did. So that's why from that standpoint, it's said that it's a non-dual. There's only one power.
Okay, but does Maya mean illusion, or what does it mean?
Maya means this Prakriti is called Maya.
And
the reason it's called illusion because it does not stay same all the time.
Okay.
Anything which changes. That doesn't mean it is not here. It is here, but it keeps on changing. Brahma does not change.
Okay, but then is Prakriti the whole entire world?
Yeah, Prakriti, which is like these 5 elements, the mind, the intellect, the ego, all that is part of the Prakriti. That changes. And who owns it? Who gives the power to it? The Brahma.
Okay.
And there's only one Brahma. Okay. And if you're talking about other philosophies, sure, there are a lot of other philosophies.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Thank you.
This is the philosophy we adhere to.
Yeah.
Okay? That there's only one power, because there are philosophies which say there is a God and there's a Satan. 2 powers. Over here, no Satan. There's no devil.
I love that.
There's only Brahma. Satan is our perverted mind is a Satan. Perverted mind. And with the help of the knowledge, we are supposed to get rid of the perversion. Okay, so there's only one power, which is Brahma. That's all. This is what we are learning, and this is what the Vedas talk about, and the Hindu philosophy talks about. Okay.
Okay. Thank you. Yeah. Thank you.
Yes, Menka.
Just to kind of follow up with that, the non-duality also means that we are all one. We are all with Brahma, right? That we are all the same.
Yes.
Right.
That's right. That's right. We are all in essence. We are all one. Just like in our own body also, sure, we have arms and the legs and the head and the eyes and the ears. They do different actions, but it's only me, one. The same way in the society or in the family. They're different members, different work they do, but the essence of all is everybody is just Brahma. When we start thinking like this, that doesn't mean we got to get involved in everybody. But that calmness comes in our mind, that we are all related. We are all related to the same God. There's no 10 gods up there. It's only Brahma. Okay? Yeah, good point, Menka.
Thank you.
Anybody else?